All right, today we're going to cover the top 15 layoff announcements from the month of October, and they're very surprising. We're going to cover who's being fired and why they're being fired. And you know what? We'll get to that in just a moment, but I do want to just share that if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you a few quick tips on how you can smell out when firings are coming to your organization. I think these are really important, guys, because if you don't know what's coming and you get the rug swept out from under you, it's going to be really bad for you, your family, your friends, your wife. It is not going to be good. So let's start with our quick countdown. We're going to fly through these and start with number 15, which is Meta. Meta announced firing of 600 people this month, specifically in their AI division, which at first glance may be kind of surprising, but what they typically are doing is firing the general AI intelligence folks, and this is going to be in a pivot towards superintelligence. So essentially cutting bloat, increasing efficiency, and streamlining their operations. Keep that thought in mind as we get deeper into this, because at the end, I'm also going to share the most common reasons cited for these layoffs. Number 14, Applied Materials. They laid off engineers, techs, managers, 14 vice presidents in San Francisco. What's kind of funny to me is, why do you need so many vice presidents? Like, is that really necessary? I guess when you're a large company like Applied Materials, you have a bunch of different divisions, but I do find it funny that you have so many vice presidents. And by the way, this is one of the things I think we're going to see with AI, that you're going to need less corporate bloat. And quite frankly, that's another common reason why companies are doing these layoffs. So anyway, why did they note these firings? They reference that there's been tighter US export controls to China. They want to simplify their operations, and they want to adopt AI and automation. You know, this is another thing that's kind of funny to me, is people will say on X, like, oh, it's, you know, and these are guys that enter the tech world, they'll say stuff like, oh, it's not AI, it's not tech, this is just bloat, they're just trying to clean up. Guys, the companies are telling you point blank that it is AI and automation. That is the reason they're saying that they're doing it. So, I mean, you could say that we don't want to take them for their word, but I just find it interesting that there's these two different kind of ideas there. By the way, we covered this story in detail, so you can check out the Applied Materials firing in detail here by clicking that link. And that's what we cover 6 days a week, guys. So if you're into what's happening with AI automation within the job force, this is the time to hit like, hit subscribe, because I'm bringing you fresh videos 6 days a week. You want to be on top of this, guys. You want to know what's happening before it's happening. Okay, cool. 13, Kroger. Kroger fired 1,000 people, specifically in their technology and digital division. And, you know, basically they're saying they want to restructure, they want to remove bloat and admin, and they're going to invest in new stores and in-person jobs. Number 12, Target. Target announced 1,800 firing layoff roles, specifically in corporate. They are reducing corporate by 8% of their workforce, which is, I think, pretty staggering. Why? Well, this was basically a response to weaker sales, and they want to move faster. They want to cut admin and bloat. And again, if you stick around at the end, I'm going to give you some telltale signs that you could be on the chopping block of your organization. You don't want that. I don't want that. Your wife definitely doesn't want that. So again, stick around, and I'll give you some ways that you can sniff out when layoffs are coming for you. Number 11, Paramount. 2,000, and essentially they fired from streaming operations, production, administrative staff. And this is likely in result of the Skydance merger and streaming losses is what they announced. Number 10, Salesforce, 4,000. I think the actual number is 4,400, but my research showed me 4,000. We actually covered this story in detail. You can check out the whole story here. I believe it was 4,400. Anyway, they fired from customer support. Why? They announced that AI and automation is handling 50% of customer interactions. To me, this was the biggest story of the month. You know, and one of the things I think is interesting about it is you could say, well, Salesforce is lying. It's not all AI and automation. And that may be true. Maybe it doesn't work. We saw Klarna suffer this a little bit earlier in the year. Klarna fired a large portion of their customer service staff. Then they had to hire them back because the quality control dropped. But what I think is going to be interesting is when a company like a Salesforce or a Klarna or any company is able to really succeed in leveraging AI and automation for customer service, you're going to see the dominoes are going to start to happen, and customer service organizations are going to shut down left and right. Every company is going to go to AI and automation. I promise you this will happen. Customer service is very, very high on the chopping block. It's very, very, very high on the chopping block. Again, stick around. I'll give you some clues so you know when it's coming for you. Okay, number 9, PwC. They fired 5,600 primarily in their audit and tax division. There were 1,500 in the United States, and they announced that they are making room for AI and automation. This is another thing that you're seeing. Your company says we want to leverage AI and automation. They need to free up capital, and so they fire people in order to do that. And I think what you're going to see also is, this is kind of a trend, is fire a bunch of people, leverage AI and automation, hire back to fill in the gaps. You know, a lot of the people that we're seeing fired are just having a hard time adopting, and they're not able to upskill or train. Hold that thought though. We'll get there in a minute. I'm going to explain the top reasons why people are getting fired. Microsoft, 7,000 people fired, primarily in their sales engineering and project management, and on the Xbox team. I don't play video games anymore, but yeah, Xbox was not the best. Anyway, they're streamlining operations and they want to focus on AI growth. Are you starting to see some trends here, guys? Don't worry, it gets better. Number 7, Novo Nordisk, 9,000, firing 9,000. That's gonna be in HR, marketing, sales, finance. They want to reduce their costs and streamline operations. Apparently, and this may be a surprise to you, there is intense competition in the obesity and diabetes drug market. Who would have thought here in the United States, we have a lot of obese and overweight people, and we want things quick and easy. We want to take drugs to stay healthy, I guess, right? That's kind of an oxymoron, take drugs to stay healthy. You know, one of the things I think is also interesting, just a quick side note, is what I'm seeing happen a lot with AI is people are confusing working smarter with working lazier. And this is just a quick aside here. Same thing in the obesity market. You know, you tell yourself, oh, I'm just working smarter, I'm taking a drug to lose weight, but really you're working lazier. You know what you should do? Manage what you eat, exercise daily. People ask me why I shoot videos while I'm walking. It's because people that walk daily live 10 years longer on average. I could be recording this in my home office, my studio, anywhere, but I like to walk. I want to live longer. Okay, cool, let's keep going. Ford, number 6 is Ford, 11,000 jobs fired. We actually covered this. You can check out the video on Ford right there. EV positions are being laid off, specifically in manufacturing, battery plants, and basically the reason for these firings is declining EV sales, and also they're looking to apply more robotics in their facilities. Again, you can check out the entire video for more details on exactly what happened with Ford, but people aren't buying EVs. Part of that is the tax credit, part of that's the robotics that are coming in. Anyway, EV sales are in decline at Ford. Number 5, Accenture. We covered this story too. You can check that out here. Accenture, 11,000. Those firings are happening in AI and digital services. And the CEO, Julie Sweet, said, quote, employees who cannot reskill in AI-related roles will be exited. And I think this needs to be a lesson for all of us, guys. And I think this is gonna be a common thread. You need to learn how to use AI, especially if you're in any sort of white-collar work. You need to learn how to use AI to work more efficiently, because companies are restructuring and streamlining. They want to try to cut down levels of bureaucracy, which is pretty standard in the organizational world. But they're going to want people on board that understand or are excited about what's happening in AI. And I know AI is scary. I know it's concerning. There's a lot of ethical and moral issues related. However, this is the new world we live in. And basically what companies and CEOs like Julie Sweet are saying, get on board, or GTFO. So that's where we are. Number 4, Nestle, 16,000 jobs. We covered this story in detail. You can check it out here. Essentially 12,000 white-collar roles and 4,000 manufacturing roles are being eliminated. Why? They want to boost efficiency and automation. Are you starting to see a trend, guys? Stay tuned to the end. I'm going to give you the top reasons that why this is happening. Number 3, Intel, 24,000 roles. Guys, that's 25% of the workforce. Cover this story in detail here. You should check it out. They had a pullback in Germany, Poland, Costa Rica, and basically what's happening here, I don't know if this is necessarily AI related. Now, Intel creates AI chips and so on and so forth, semiconductors, but they needed to restructure because they were bleeding money. Also interesting in that story, the US government now has a stake in Intel. We basically bailed them out, and I'm not gonna get into all the details about that. I think it's interesting. There's pros and cons. You can check out the video. There we go into more detail. This was very recently. Amazon announced 30,000 jobs, most of them in corporate at AWS, Amazon Web Services, operations, and HR. They want to be leaner, they want to be meaner. They are investing in AI like crazy, That is what's happening at Amazon. And then the number one firing announcement, which to me was really surprising, we covered it in detail, was UPS announcing layoffs of 48,000 employees. 48,000 employees. Again, we covered that in detail. You can check it out here. Why is that happening, or who's being impacted? They've got 34,000 operational drivers and warehouse workers, 14,000 admin and management employees getting the axe. That is so crazy to me. What's really crazy about this AI revolution here is the men that work with their hands are the safest. It's the men that work with their minds that are being laid off. And it's kind of a complete flip in this mentality that we had 10 years ago, which was learn to code. Oh, you're gonna lose your job to AI and automation, learn to code. But it's actually the opposite of what's happening. It's the learn to code guys that need to learn to work with their hands, which I just find ironic in the least. Anyway, why is UPS doing this? They had a loss of about 50% of their Amazon volume for deliveries, and they want to invest in AI and machine learning. Are you seeing a trend yet, guys? Are you starting to see the trend? I hope so. So let's cover the most common reasons that are cited, and then I'm going to give you some ways to sniff out when firings are coming to your organization, which I think is important. If you prepare before it happens, then you're in a much better shape, guys. Most common reasons. So first, AI and automation and technology shifts. Time and time again, and the reason I mention this is I believe that AI, automation, and tech shifts are something that are within your control. This is why I'm so focused on it. A, because it's under your control, and B, it's gonna bring a lot of opportunity. I know when AI comes for your job, it's gonna piss you off, it's gonna be scary, it's gonna be a bad deal, but I think that there's gonna be a lot of opportunity, guys. I know there's this idea that AI and robots are just gonna get so much better at everything so fast that you're never gonna have a role in the world. I don't think that's going to happen. It is possible, and if that does, there's nothing you can do about it. But I think that there is gonna be something you can do about it. I think there is gonna be something, I think that you as a human being created in the image of God are infinitely valuable. I think that there is gonna be a place for you. Second most common reason, economic uncertainty and cost cutting. Company's doing bad, you're bloated, you don't know what's gonna happen with the tariffs or exports, geopolitical issues, geoeconomic issues, there's a lot happening, inflation, got to cut costs somewhere. People are very, very expensive. You know, if you're in small business, you'll expect that about 60% of your costs are gonna be in labor and humans. Again, this is one of the reasons why AI is so appealing to business owners, because if you think that you can lower your costs, lower your expenses from 60% to say 30%, your company becomes much, much more profitable overnight. And then the third most common is restructuring. So there's a merger, they want to move things around. Restructuring is also common. So guys, if you're still with me, thanks for being here, liking, subscribing, commenting below your thoughts. All that matters. The community is what really matters here. Let's talk about playing detective here. Understanding and predicting when layoffs are coming to your organization. So I've got a few things that you can look for here to be aware of it before it happens. So the first of which is hiring and spending freezes. They cut off discretionary spending. They announce that they're not hiring new people. That is something to be aware of. That says that they're trying to reduce expenses. And that's, again, a common precursor for layoffs. Second, a poor financial performance. There's a poor quarter, the stock price drops, maybe they miss a sales target. These are all precursors for reducing expenses. And hopefully your company is not in a death knell where it's this unstoppable spiral of we need to cut costs. So we cut people, and then the services and the product suffers, et cetera, et cetera. But keep an eye out for that. If your company has a bad quarter, that's a precursor, okay? That's a precursor. Internal changes. Maybe there's reduced workloads. Maybe there's projects that were canceled or delayed. Maybe temporary or contract workers get let go, that is another sign that things are happening. And you really want to make sure that you're seen as a crux. You're a valuable person in the organization. And another thing that we're seeing here with all these companies is they're laying off middle management, admin. They're laying off kind of the expensive, loaded type of salary roles. You make $150,000 a year, you better be able to show yourself as a profit center, that your actions have a direct reaction for the organization. The last thing that we're gonna look at here is personnel exclusion. Are you being excluded from key meetings? Maybe there were meetings you were a part of that you're not a part of now. Maybe you're getting fewer high profile assignments. The new projects that you used to get assigned to you are now getting assigned to someone else or something else. Maybe there's key employee departures, maybe a CMO or a vice president or vice, these are all signs that things are in the decline. And being in the know, guys, is one of the best things you can do. Well, listen, it's very easy to bury your head in the sand. In fact, if you're watching a video like this, chances are you're in the top 1% as far as prepared goes. So props to you. Props to you. Your family will be very thankful for you one day. But most people are burying their heads in the sand. They're not aware. And hopefully videos like this will wake them up. Thanks for sharing this. And if you like today's video, you will be very interested in yesterday's video. It's right here. We talk about vibe coding. If you're not sure what vibe coding is, it's using words to build software. It's using your words and prompts to have AI write software for you. But there's a dirty secret. It's a complete scam. Or is it? Where's the value? We covered all yesterday's video. Check it out. I think it's very important that you understand what's happening with vibe coding. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for many reasons. All right, boys, go forth to conquer. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.